the hidden secret of the 7 wonders of the world. You will only learn about this now. The 7 wonders of the world include some of the most beautiful and significant structures of our modern times. These are the 7 on the list of the 7 wonders of the world. The Great Wall of China, Petra in Jordan, Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, Machu Picchu in Peru, Chichen Itza in Mexico, the Colosseum in Rome, and the Taj Mahal in India. And aside from those 7 amazing structures, the Great Pyramid of Giza is also included in the list, where it received a place of honor on the list. And in fact, it still remains a mystery how it was built. But the 7, according to theories, it was said that people built it with the help of aliens in ancient times. But that's not true because strong evidence has already been found showing how it was really made. Yes, this is the simple image evidence. Because of this, we will now know the whole secret of the pyramids. What do you think is the connection of this picture to the pyramids? But before I answer that, let's first discuss the secrets of some of the 7 wonders of the world. This is Arvin Polo Television. Let's get started. First is the Great Wall of China. China is one of the oldest civilizations in world history. The Chinese also started various inventions like paper and gunpowder. And in China, you can also find the longest man-made structure ever built in the world. In total, the Great Wall of China is 21,000 kilometers long, and it passes through almost 400 towns in northern and central China. However, it's not true what others say that it was built all at once. In fact, it's actually a series of fortifications that were reinforced during different periods. You can see evidence of this between the 8th and 5th century before Christ. During these times, China was divided into many small states, and they fought or waged war against each other to expand their own territories, and because of the various threats to the rulers of these small states. Here they are, and they started building tall walls to protect themselves from their enemies. And in the 3rd century before Christ, these states were unified under the rule of the Qing dynasty. So since they were now united, they decided to extend the main wall, connecting it to the earlier walls built by the smaller towns. And on the other hand, the most famous part of the wall was also built during the Ming dynasty. This dynasty became powerful in the 14th century. About 1,700 years later, almost 1/3 of the wall and its other strong sections were built by the Ming dynasty to protect themselves against the Mongol tribes. The materials used to build the Great Wall were different. Why were they different? Because it was built in different periods and by different people. Most of the time, they used rammed earth and bricks with wood used in other wall sections, while for the harder parts, they used marbles and bricks. And there are secret ingredients added so that it would last for hundreds of years. The secret ingredient is an unusual kind of mortar made from sticky rice. This was introduced during the Ming era, and it has been proven to be strong and waterproof, just like cement. And it was able to strengthen the bricks to the ultimate level, and grass does not grow here. On the other hand, almost all parts from the Ming era are still standing up to this day. They survived many events like storms, earthquakes, and others. And despite all of this, building such a long structure was not really easy either, because the huge stones and bricks still had to be brought to the top of the mountain to be built. And because there were no machines during those times, they really did all of this by hand. Using only their bare hands, they carried these and walked for several kilometers. They would go through cliffs to complete the Great Wall. As a result, many laborers died from hunger and extreme exhaustion. According to some articles, almost 400,000 people died here during its construction. One thing is clear about this. The Great Wall of China stands as a witness to the extraordinary skill and hard work that people dedicated to it. And we can clearly see this even today. And for your information, almost 10 million people visit here every year. But here's the problem. Many parts of the wall were not built using sticky rice. That's why they're slowly collapsing. In fact, because so much time has passed, almost 1/3 of the wall is already damaged. Now, let's also uncover the secret of another one of the 7 wonders. This is the place that's been abandoned for 100 years, Machu Picchu. This stands at 2,400 meters above sea level. You can find it in the mountains of Peru. There's a mysterious city here within a breathtaking landscape, and it used to be inhabited by 300 to 1,000 residents. Machu Picchu is a historic site of the Inca Empire, where it was once the largest imperialist. Back in the time of America, it was built in the 15th century because it was already damaged. This is where the unique skills of the Inca from ancient times started to emerge. This city is actually made up of 200 buildings, all constructed with curved granite stones. Their work was so beautiful and polished. Not even a single piece of paper could fit between the stones. And because of this, it is less affected by earthquakes. If an earthquake happens, the stones will only move slightly, but the structure won't collapse. And even though Peru is in a region where earthquakes are common, they are not greatly affected. But why was this city built in such a remote or hidden location, and why was it abandoned? Many researchers believe that this city was built as a royal estate for the emperors of the Inca. It was also an expensive spot for elites back then. However, others say it was a well-built hideout to protect the emperor in case of an attack. And because it is surrounded by mountains, it was sacred to the Inca people. It was also likely a religious center or a place of worship for the Inca, which is also why Machu Picchu is significant. It has many temples, including the Temple of the Sun. But even so, the reason for building Machu Picchu is still unclear to people up to now. But why was it abandoned for such a long time? In 1528, it had only been a few hundred years since Machu Picchu was built. This was when the Spanish began to conquer them, and because of fear, theft, and destruction, the residents of Machu Picchu abandoned the city, and so they wouldn't be found and followed. They burned the trees around the mountain, and their plans succeeded. The Spanish did not find the city, especially in 1572. Many of the great Inca cities were destroyed. This included Vilcabamba. Vilcabamba was the last Inca city to fall into the hands of the Spanish, and because there were no traces left of the Incas at that time, people didn't even know that they existed. But then something unexpected happened. 300 years later, an American explorer and historian named Hiram Bingham led an expedition to Machu. He was hoping that he would find it, the lost city of Vilcabamba. And when he arrived at a small village there in Machu, he asked the farmers if there was an ancient place here that had been destroyed, and they pointed him to the top of the mountain. So on July 24, 1911, they climbed the mountain and thought that it was the lost city of Vilcabamba, but they were wrong because it wasn't. So later on, they just called it Machu Picchu. And now, after 100 years since it was discovered, Machu Picchu is one of the most visited places and the most special place in the world. Incredible, right? And now, let's jump to the main topic. This will probably be our discussion in this video. This is the ancient pyramid of the most advanced civilization in world history. And even today, it still amazes people all over the world. Do you know why? Because they were so advanced in everything. Yes, they already had mathematics back then, languages, medicines, and even architecture. And one of their greatest achievements is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Even today, people are still wondering how it was made. This structure was built within 20 to 27 years. It has a height of 146.5 meters, or 480 feet. In total, it is also made up of almost 2.3 million blocks, and each of these blocks weighs about as much as an SUV. That's why people today believe that aliens really built this. On the other hand, the Great Pyramid of Giza looked unusual even while it was still being built, because back then it was covered with smooth white limestone. This smooth white surface was hidden in the very center or core of the pyramid, and it was dazzling when hit by sunlight. The tip of the pyramid was also covered with a gold-plated capstone. That's why it looks so unique, and you could see it from any direction, even from far away, but now it has changed. Because of the passage of time, the smooth stone surface is now gone. And when it was gone, it was just turned into another monument like Cairo, citadel, and mosques in different capitals. The question again is, how did the Egyptians do this? There were no modern tools back then, and no proper vehicles either. How were they able to build such perfectly shaped stones? Most blocks are extremely heavy, and people believe that they use wooden sleds or lubricants to move the blocks. And they actually wet it to reduce friction, because when it's dry, it's hard to slide. On the other hand, the white limestone that used to cover the pyramid, it was transported by boat from Tura, which is 10 kilometers away to the south. Surprisingly, researchers also discovered nearly 8,000 tons of granite stone from Aswan. It is 900 kilometers away from the main pyramid. So they really put in an incredible amount of effort just to build this. They used granite for the king's chamber, and each block weighs 80 tons. How are these installed individually? Some say that ramps were used here to install them. There were no cranes back then, so that was really the only way to transport those huge blocks to the very top of the pyramid. But that's not possible. Their alternative theory, they say this is what they did to the pyramid. And if they did it this way, the blocks wouldn't be even. So this still wouldn't work. According to Jean-Pierre, a French architect, he wasn't satisfied with these theories. So in 2003, here it is. This is what he said. This is based on his 7 years of studying 3D models. He realized that the external ramp was what made it easier to build 1/3 of the pyramid. So it actually all started inside. They began with the base, and once the base was done, they used internal ramps here to lift the blocks. And with this tactic, it was easy to align each corner. And this was supported by other studies. In 1980, it was scanned using microgravimetal. And they did find an internal ramp here. This is a winding ramp that goes around inside the center of the pyramid. So it means they started from the inside based on what they prioritized, and then they used the internal ramps to place each block. Amazing, right? So now what's your opinion about this video? Comment down below.